Remember to sign in. Oh, okay. Yes, thank you.
Now it's official.
It really is official. And just after I get done with this announcements, I'm going to put a link in the chat, and it's just where you sign in for your attendance today. It's the same questions that you always answer: your name, your last name, agency, email. It's just that we're using Zoom today, and so the link will go in the attendance. And by the way, it's very long. I apologize. I don't know why it turned out like that, but you'll see it in chat after I get done. So I hope that you are all enjoying your new year. This year, our change agent theme is the ripple effect. One small ripple can make large waves. As change agents, we talk a lot about changing our behavioral health system. We spend a lot of time embracing our 9 great values, learning about what it means to be co-occurring, and the importance of continuous quality improvement. We don't spend a lot of time talking about how we individually make a difference. Let's face it, caregiving positions can be stressful, challenging, and have a high level of burnout. This year, we will focus on how to keep ourselves inspired, motivated, and passionate about the work we do to encourage a ricochet effect that spreads throughout our system to other change agents, agencies, and of course, our consumers. Our theme leads us to our speaker today. I want to introduce Don Sandel, who is joining us today to talk about Positive Mindset, Positive Year. Don is the founder of Go Positive. Don's expertise in the field of leadership development, as well as the impact of shifting to a positive mindset. He is a sought-after speaker on the topic, often speaking at national and global conferences, and has been published nationally. He is currently the founder of Go Positive, but has spent a quarter of a century leading talent development for numerous companies. Don has published a book called Positive Mindset. The link to purchase the book went out with the original email for this training, but we can drop the link for the book in the chat as well. Please, everyone, help me welcome Don. And so, Don, you have the floor.
I have the Zoom.
You have the Zoom.
Wonderful. Thank you, Amy. Boy, great introduction. I should have you travel with me. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. I know you got 1,000 things that you could be doing today, so I'm so glad that you are here with me to spend a little bit of time focusing on your development, focusing on your mindset. So as Amy mentioned, my name's Don Sandel. I'm the founder of this company, Go Positive, and this is what we do. We make the irrefutable link between having a positive mindset, the right mindset, and achieving everything that we want to achieve, achieving high performance, a flourishing life. And it all has to do with that positive mindset. I'm extremely confident you're going to find this valuable, both from a work perspective, but hopefully also from a personal perspective as well. So based on the last couple of years, and based on the cold weather we've been having, how many of you could use a little positivity today? Go into your, give me a thumbs up, or go into the, what do they call it? They call it the responses or the reactions. Yeah, okay. Well, you guys are in the right place. So I'm so glad that you are here. We got a lot to cover, so let me just jump right in. There we go. So I want you to use the chat function. I can tell you guys are already familiar with the chat function. Make sure you send this to everybody. Here's what I want you to think about. Just want to kind of frame this and think about your perspective. As you look back at the last year, as you look back at 2023, don't write a Russian novel. Don't write even a whole sentence. Just write 1 or 2 words. Back 2023, what has been your predominant emotion? What defined your emotion for 2023? Jump into chat and let's take a look. Oh my gosh. Great. Oh, you guys are wonderful. I see some wonderful ones, and then I see stress, anxiety, confusion. Yeah. Oh my God. Disappointment, anxiety. Oh my gosh. They're going fast. Oh, some lovely messages. Yeah, this is a roller coaster, overwhelmed. Oh, Beth, grief and depression, grief. Miss Presley, excited. Yeah, yeah, good, good. Thank you for doing that. First of all, I want to validate what you put in there. You know, you own your emotions, you own your feelings. If that's what you felt for 2023, I totally get it. In fact, my phone has been ringing off the hook, so most of the world is probably right there with you. It's okay not to be okay for those of you who put the stress, who put the anxiety, those types of of words. Um, let's see, Sarah Smith. Sarah Smith, go ahead and unmute yourself if you can. You put stress and peace. I'm really curious. If you don't mind, Sarah Smith, go ahead and tell me a little bit more about that. You got both. You got stress and peace. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Probably the peace. I think the stress is pretty understandable for most, but the peace has been more trying to be okay with what has happened and just taking it one thing at a time.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's shared by a lot of people. Yeah, stress is what it is. We need a little bit. We just don't want too much. And I'm glad that you wrote down peace. That's great. Just above that, calmness. Marty, you wrote down calmness. I think that's awesome. Tell me more about that. Where did the calmness come from?
So being around horses, we have equine assisted services organization I belong to, and I think it's being that, and also at my age, getting old, being more acceptant of things that happen.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've read some of the research around working with the horses and such, and I think that's a wonderful thing. So keep up your good work. And finally, I'm going to ask, thank you, Marty. I'm going to ask for one more, and it's Shaitanya. If I said that right, Shaitanya. I love it. But you wrote anxiety, Shaitanya. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Where does the anxiety these days come from, if you don't mind me asking?
Just taking on new pressures, new things, and trying to balance stuff. Just had me all over the place.
Yeah, these new things can add some excitement, some challenge to our life, but sometimes the new things can disrupt what we're comfortable with and take us outside of our comfort zones. I totally get it. I totally get it. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing. Thank you guys for putting that in that. Based on the words that you shared, you are in the right place. And we are going to spend our time together talking about the power of a positive mindset. But first, I want to remind you that all of those things that you put in there, you aren't alone. Like I said, my phone's been ringing off the hook, and because of what I do, that usually means not things are going great for a lot of people. Things are really, a lot of people are struggling. And so I look at this in my research, it tells me that we have some of these things that continue to trend higher. And you guys know this more than anybody. Depression at epidemic levels, mental illness, stress. 57% of US workers report that stress is high or overwhelming. You know, like I said, a little bit of stress pushes us, but too much stress really disrupts our performance and becomes an obstacle to our best. Suicide also has been trending up. I think we had a better year in 22, but the overall trend is going up. Death by despair. That's, as you guys know, is drug overdose or drug poisoning, violent crime, especially in our bigger cities. And we also have some of these other things that are going lower, which doesn't help us either. Employee engagement has gone down for the first time 2 years in a row, and now it's stagnating. Well-being, life satisfaction, happiness. The US, there's a happiness score for countries. We continue to sink lower and lower below other countries. Loneliness has kind of stagnated as well, but the trend is going higher, and we know that 24% of people worldwide feel very or fairly lonely, and how that affects our health, how that affects our outcome, our relationships, and even, get this, even our life expectancy is going lower, not higher. I found that incredible, especially when you think about all the medical advances that are going on. Now, let me give you a parenthetical on this particular slide. This is going to be my most negative slide. I just wanted to share with you that you're not alone. And we are facing some headwinds as we think about our mindset. But I wanted to also give you this wonderful one. It's one of my favorite quotes by Helen Keller. Although the world is full of suffering, and it is, and it always has, it is also full of the overcoming of it. And I have to remind myself sometimes as I watch the evening news that the world is also full of the overcoming of suffering. And I think that's a wonderful reminder. And I want to share this other quote by James Anderson, who says, don't just go through it, but grow through it. So, in other words, salvation through suffering. We have our challenges, we have our change, sometimes we even have our tragedies, but those are also, with the right mindset, opportunities for us to get even better. So I just wanted to leave you with that hope. And finally, in my book, I write this multiple times in my book, but I wanted to give you the theses for today. And here's the theses for today. It is just this: we are better in every domain of our lives when we are happy, optimistic, and positive. We are more focused. We are more disciplined. We are more innovative. We are more creative. In fact, we're smarter. Our IQ actually goes up when we have a positive mindset. In fact, they've done duplicated studies with students where they primed them to be either positive, neutral, or negative before taking math achievement tests. The ones that were primed to be positive almost always did better. We have better memory, we have better recall, and we literally, when we have a positive mindset, change our brains, open up the learning centers of our brain. And that's a reminder how powerful this mind shift can be. So let me just frame a couple things for you, and then we're going to pick up speed. So what are we going to get out of today? So I want you to focus on these things, and hopefully this will help keep you focused. First of all, we are going to talk, yes, about the power of a positive mindset. That this concept is more than just a social virtue. It's more than just a nice thing to do, although it is those things. Our physiology literally changes when we have a positive mindset. There's such power in that. Our brains change, our neurons change, our guts change, our blood changes, our chemicals change. Even some of our tissue changes when we have this positive mindset. And then we're going to talk about how a positive mindset is actually a multiplier, but a negative mindset actually becomes a burden. We'll talk about how that is true. We're also going to talk about how everybody on this call, all of you, no matter how positive you are, you have a negativity bias, and that's just evolution. It's the way our brains function. And we're going to talk about how that's a headwind, how we're genetically predisposed to be negative. But we're going to talk about how we're going to overcome that. And we're going to do so in a safe, trusting, and of course, a positive environment. Finally, I'm going to share with you the 6 steps to positive mindset. And I'm going to send afterwards, I'm going to send an infographic that's going to walk you through those 6 steps. We're going to do a breakout. And I have to share this parenthetical with you. I don't want any of you to think that this is happyology, that I'm expecting you to be happy, optimistic, and positive, what I call HOP, that I'm expecting you to be HOP all the time. Absolutely not. You are going to have crappy days. You're going to have challenging days. You're going to have days that are full of change. I do too. I have my bad days. I have my negative days. The expectation is that you're not going to be HOP all the time. But I hope you'll get out of this that if I can move my default from negative to positive, that gives me a power I probably never had before. So by now, I'm assuming most of you are Zoom experts or Teams experts. So let me go through this really quick. You're all going to be self-muted. But if you want to jump in and you have a question, you want to answer something, you want to add, unmute yourself and just bring it up. I love that. So no worries about that, okay? We're going to be using chat, of course, especially since we have, almost 170 people. We're going to be using chat. We're going to do a couple of breakouts. I'll do a poll, an actual poll. I want to encourage you to take notes. Taking notes while you're learning and developing is a neuromotor activity, which means we learn longer and deeper. So I want to encourage that. I also want to encourage you that if you have questions about anything that I'm sharing today, drop me a note. That's my email right there. It's some of my favorite emails to receive. Happens every week. If you have a question, you want follow-up, you want more information, you want a study that I talked about, I'll send it to you. Just reach out to me. And finally, Amy, this is for you, my friend. Remember to sign in for your attendance registration. So Amy, if you can, why don't you go ahead and put that into chat again so that some of the people who arrived a little bit later can see the latest iteration of that link.
It's
Okay.
the very long link.
Yep, that's okay. I think Zoom can handle it. So here's what I want to do. I want to start you off by getting your brain in its most optimal state. And there's technically three brief activities to get your brain in its most optimal state. You guys with me? So this is what we're going to accomplish. When we do these really brief, easy activities, we're going to oxygenate your blood, push some oxygen into your blood, increase your blood flow, which is key to a healthy, active brain. We're going to settle your mind. We're going to release those dose chemicals, and you guys probably know this. Dose means dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and we're going to release those chemicals. Those chemicals make you better. We're going to enhance your mood, and we're going to literally open up the learning centers in your brain. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Follow me. If you can see my image, follow my words, follow my image, and here we go. So first of all, I want you to raise your hands. Just be real careful. I don't know if there's things around you, if there's people around you, but I want you to lift up your hands, please. Lift them up and stretch a little bit. Stretch a little bit. There you go. There you go. Looking great. Move them to the side. Move them to the side. Good, good. Stretch, stretch. Now, chicken wing your arms. And just without hitting anybody, just move around and kind of stretch that lower back a little bit. Not too much, not too much. Stretch that lower back. Then finally, I want you to bring your hands high and do this with your hands. Open and close your hands. Stretch them, open and close, pump your hands, move them to the side, keep pumping your hands. We're going to get that oxygenated blood to your brain and get your brain at its most optimal level. All right, go ahead, bring your hands in, just relax. Next thing I want to do is I really want to declutter, rewire, and recalibrate your brain's wiring. So we're going to do this really easy. We're going to breathe in through the nose. We're going to breathe out through the mouth. All right, we're going to gain back control of your own brain. So just take a moment. If you wish, go ahead and close your eyes. Be in the moment. Be where your feet are. As deep as you can, breathe in. And out through your mouth. That's it. Just enjoy the moment. Settle yourself down. Oxygenate your blood. Be where your feet are. One more deep breath in. Let's go. Deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. We're going to do one more for extra credit. Just focus on the moment. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. You're here in this moment. Deep breathe in and out. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So hopefully you feel better after that. And the next segment that I want to focus on is a little bit of the research about why you should buy into this, because it's more than just a social virtue. It's more than just a nice thing to do. One more optimal brain state activity that I'd like to do. And we're going to do a brief breakout. Don't worry. Sometimes that might make you nervous that we're going to do a breakout. This is going to be really easy. I'd like to think you're going to enjoy it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about, go back a couple of months, go back into 2023, but I want you to think about a particularly unique, happy moment that you experienced. It made you feel joy. It made you laugh out loud. It made you feel positive. I want you to think of a particularly memorable, unique moment. Now I want you to savor it so we embed it deeper into long-term memory. Just savor that moment. Now we're going to do, let's see, we have about 170 people, and I want you to keep that happy moment in your mind. 170 divided by 4. All right, that's how many breakout rooms we're going to have. Oops. And we're going to do this for about 6 minutes. And all you're going to do when you go into this breakout room is 1, you're going to make sure that you're unmuted. 2, you're going to introduce yourself. And 3, all you guys are going to do is enjoy sharing that happy moment that you experienced, the one you've been savoring. Based on those directions, I'm going to send you into your breakout room. You're going to see a dialog box. Accept the breakout room. You're going to do this for about 5 to 6 minutes and just enjoy sharing that positive moment. All right, you should see that breakout room dialog box. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Look for that breakout box, hit accept, and then you'll be taken to your breakout room. Couple more of you need to accept that dialog box. Please do. That way we don't have somebody in the room all by themselves. Welcome back.
I actually couldn't think of anything.
I think just about it. Everybody's working their way back. How was that for time? I'm curious. Did you guys need more time?
How many were supposed to be with us?
Well, there was usually supposed to be 4.
It was a good amount of time if 4 would have been there.
Yeah, you guys had less than 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we had 2.
Oh, okay. Well, then you guys did you wrap up probably a little bit early then?
No, we talked for the whole time.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, let's see. Waiting for a couple more to show up. So here's okay. All right, so thanks for indulging me. Thanks for doing that. And here's my real obvious question following that primer activity. Here's my real obvious question. When you got a chance to recall, savor, articulate, and listen to that kind of happy moment, how did that make you feel? In fact, jump into chat. When you got a chance to do that and talk about that and savor it and all of that, how did that make you feel? Jump in the chat. What were some of your descriptions about how that made you feel? Happiness, joy, positive, happy, warm, warm. That's perfect for Wisconsin, right? Oh, I love it. I love it. And of course, that's what was the primer activity. That was why we did that. We did that on purpose. I wanted you to feel that way. Now, when you are able to shift like that to a positive mindset, a happy mindset, let's talk about what happens. Let's talk about what happens in the brain. So first of all, we don't feel those emotions that you're writing into chat right now. We don't feel those things just because we have those things. We feel those things because there's a release of neurochemicals that allows us to feel those things. And it's really a wonderful thing because then we keep craving and pursuing those things that helped us to feel that way. Here's the other thing. The brain does not distinguish between the moment and the memory, right? So you have the memory, but you also had that moment. The brain does not know the difference between the two. So when you savored that moment, you started to talk about that moment, the brain goes, oh, I guess we're experiencing that again. And it released and it sent out to you those positive, those happy chemicals to you again. And those happy chemicals again, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. And it is the release of those chemicals that helps make us different and better. It is positive physiological changes that we go through. And that is what enables us to create these positive outcomes. Our physiology, not just our psychology, but our physiology literally changes. Remember, this is our thesis. When we're happy, optimistic, and positive, the research tells us we are better in every domain of our lives. So let's dive into this just a little bit further. Remember what the primary function of the human brain is. The primary function of the human brain is our survival, not our life satisfaction. It's about survival. So that means we have a brain. Everybody on this call has this kind of evolutionary brain that is always looking for threats, looking for danger, looking for negativity. And when we have a negative mindset, our limbic system is in charge. The emotional part of our brain is in charge. So when we have the emotional part of our brain in charge, we tend to be led by higher emotions. The limbic system takes over. We have less impulse control. When we have a negative mindset, we actually limit the power of our own brain. We lower our physical, our cognitive, and our social emotional capabilities. And finally, when we have a negative mindset, We have a higher death rate. We don't deal with stress, anxiety, fear, depression. We don't deal with those things as well. We're in poorer health, and we actually weaken our immune system when we have this perpetuating negative mindset. Okay, that's a little bit depressing. Let me share the positive with you, okay? So when we have a positive mindset, no longer is the limbic system in charge. Now the prefrontal cortex is in charge. That's the front of our brain, the newest part of the human brain. That's the rational part of the brain, the executive function part of our brain. So when we have this positive mindset, we tend to lead with a more rational mind. We actually have more impulse control. We literally manifest the full capability of our brains when we have this positive mindset. So we literally strengthen our physical, our cognitive, and our social emotional capabilities. When we have this positive mindset, we actually live a longer life. We deal with stress, depression, anxiety, all of these fear. We deal with these things better, and we have better health, and we have a stronger immune system. For me, that is really powerful, because what the data is telling us is, yes, we're different and better when we have this positive mindset, but our physiology is more capable. We're able to use our brains to its extreme capability, more so than when we have this negative mindset. And it's said really well. Sean Aker wrote a wonderful book called The Happiness Advantage. And what he wrote is, we become more successful when we are happier and more positive. It turns out that our brains are literally hardwired to perform at their best, not when they are negative or neutral, but when they are positive. I want this background, this research, to be your reason for grabbing a hold of this and going, oh, I thought this was just a nice to do. It's more than just a nice to do. We are better. We are different. In fact, our physiology literally changes. Okay, so I'm going to launch a poll in a second, but let me set it up with this quick story. So years and years ago, I was when I was in the corporate world, I ran leadership development. That was my job, and I was in this global company, and I reported to the global head of HR. Now, she and I didn't get along very well. We had totally antithetical approaches to leadership. So we butted heads often. And one day when I was in her office and she was she was clearly exasperated with me, she said, Don, next week we have our global HR meeting. I want you to present your leadership philosophy to the global HR team. A no-win situation. So on the day that I was to present, she and I passed each other in the hallway, and she scowled at me and she said, well, today's your big day. Don't blow it. And she got in my head. And you guys, I ended up delivering perhaps the worst presentation I have ever delivered that day. She got in my head. I had this negative mindset, negative output. So I'm curious, has that ever happened to you where you had this negative mindset and you produced negative outcomes, or you had a really positive mindset and you produced positive outcomes? So let me send this poll out to you, and I want you to jump in. You should be able to see this. It's just a yes or no question. Jump into the poll. Everybody take the poll. Have you experienced this where your mindset led to a particular outcome? All right, we're up to about 1/3. Keep going, keep going. We're almost to 100. We're almost over 100. Good, good, good. All right. Couple more people jump in, take the poll. Let me end the poll and let me show you the results. And this is probably not a surprise. We have about 98% that said, well, yeah, Don, I've experienced this. And what I deduce from this is that I can teach on this, I can share the studies, I can share the research, but your own lives are an example of exactly what I'm talking about, that our mindset helps us to produce our outcomes. So why would we ever develop the habit of having that default negative mindset? And I'm going to teach you how to get over that in a moment. So I want you to follow my logic with this. So if this is true, that our mindset really predicts our outcomes, and that helps us personally, would this make sense that if we had a more positive team, if we had a more positive organization, that would help the team outcomes, that would help the organization outcomes? And don't worry, that's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer it because I've done the work for you. Here's the background. This is what the data tells us about this wonderful trait about positivity. That when we have teams and organizations where the positivity overtakes the negativity, we see an increase in productivity. We're much more efficient. We're 10 times less likely to take sick leave. Now, there's two reasons for that. So one reason is that we're healthier, right? We have this positive mindset. We have a stronger immune system. We're healthier. But the other one is that we just enjoy our colleagues, we enjoy our teammates better, and we actually want to go to work. That's pretty powerful. We're more energized, we're more engaged, and I love this one because in your organization, like every organization, you want your superstars to stay. And if they're surrounded by other positive people, the data tells us that they're going to stay twice as long when they're surrounded by other like-minded, positive people. All right. So with all of that said, that's kind of our setup for me diving into, well, how do we get there? And let me just let this picture sit there for a minute. Not all of us are where we want to be. We do not want to be overcome with this negativity bias, even though we're surrounded by a lot of negativity. We want to overcome that. There is a way, and the difference between success and failure, you guys, is our mindset. Let me prove that to you with one more slide. Wonderful study. Dr. Sonia Lubomirsky out of the University of California, I think Irvine, did this meta-analysis. She looked at over 300 studies involving almost 300,000 people. So from an end count perspective, her study was valid and reliable. And this was the outcome of her study, this meta-analysis, that when we are happy, optimistic, and positive, here's the things that we are almost assured to experience. We're going to make more money. We're going to be more successful. We're going to be better leaders. We're going to have more fulfilling marriages. Don't just pass over that one. When we choose a life partner and we're going to live with them for the rest of the decades of our life, how wonderful that it's actually a fulfilling relationship. We make more friends. We have better relationships. The happy, optimistic, and positive people are actually more philanthropic. We cope better with stress and trauma. We're healthier. We have that stronger immune system that we actually boost with our positive mindset. We lead longer lives, and we actually perform better at work. So with that as background, probably the question that you are asking is, okay, Don, we got it. Thank you for sharing the studies. We got it. How do we get there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the 6 steps. Now, there are literally, you guys, dozens of methodologies to increase your positivity. There are dozens of research-based methods. I'm sharing with you my favorite 6. This is the part of the presentation I call happy hour. So with that, here's the 6 steps, and I'm going to walk through these. But I want to give you guys a moment just to kind of get up and move around, okay? Please come back. I'm going to give you a 4-minute break. Get up, get a coffee, get something to drink. I'm going to give you a break just because I want you to get up and move around. And then I also want you to bring back something to write on, because as we go through these things, hopefully you're going to want to take notes. So a 4-minute break, which means that we are please return at 1:51 or 51 past the hour, 51 past the hour, please return, and we'll get cranking on the 6 steps for positive mindset. Come back at 51 past the hour.
Hey, Don,
Hey, Amy.
just so you know, first of all, you're doing great. I love this. It's so wonderful. Secondly, I just checked the attendance sheet. I only have about 117 people on that attendance sheet. So when we come back, let's do one more reminder.
You got it.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get started again. And before we get going, Amy, did you have a reminder that you wanted to mention to everybody? Or a link you wanted to share? Okay, that reminder is to make sure that you guys sign in to make sure you get credit. So Amy, send that into the chat whenever you are ready. There we go. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to take a couple minutes out, because that was the setup. That's the background. That's the why. And I wanted to use this time to allow you to ask a couple of questions. Has this sparked in you some questions? And let's take a couple minutes for those burning questions. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question or two.
Don, I'm munching on rice cakes, but I do have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm wondering if you ever heard of the phrase like holding on to a glimmer. Like, you know how there's these moments of just you're sitting in it and you're surrounded by a moment and you just kind of realize, whoa, this is a positive moment, something where I'm supposed to kind of feel it, hold on to it, save it, savor it, right? I've been recognizing as I'm getting older that I'm having these moments more and more. And I don't know if I saw this on social media or where I said that the phrase or that people are calling them glimmers. Am I saying that correctly? Has anybody else heard this? But I'm wondering if you've ever heard of that before.
Love the question. I have not heard of it necessarily called glimmers, but here's the research behind that. The brain does not usually want to hold on to positive moments as much as it wants to hold on to negative moments. When a positive moment happens, the brain goes, great, glad it happened, but I'm not taking up space, neuron space, to store that, unless it's really emotional, right? It's not going to store it. But when negative things happen, the brain says, from a survival perspective, from a safety perspective, from a threat perspective, I'm going to remember that to help keep all of us keep me safe. So the brain holds on to the negative and tends to push away the positive, which is why it's important to savor positive moments, because the brain won't naturally tend to do it unless it's really an emotional thing. The brain will maybe keep it in short-term memory, usually won't store it to long-term memory. That's why savoring is so important. Any other questions before we go on? Unmute yourself and ask a question, please. Okay, as we go through, feel free to ask any questions. And what I'd like to do now is walk through the 6 steps to help you counter all the negativity that is out there, counter the environment, the culture, all of those things, so that you can lead a more positive life and create more positive outcomes. So the first one, and I love this quote from MLK, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. And this is the first step. You got to be intentional, right? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. Here's the first step. And you got to make positive mind shift your goal, right? If you don't have the intention to change or get better, it's not going to happen. So for those of you who want to do this, just write this phrase that's in orange. I want you to write this down where you're taking notes. My intention is to be a positive influence and a positive leader. Now, copy that down, but you can create your own hybrid. You can create your own sentence. You can create your own goal. But I want that to at least be your beginning. Write it down and then leverage technology, right? Remind yourself every day that you have this new intention, because then you're going to manifest it. Then you're going to make it happen. You're going to forget about it tomorrow. So that's why I say put it in like MS Outlook as a recurring event. Talk to Google Home, talk to Siri, talk to Alexa, and be sure that you are reminded about this new behavior, this new intention, and then that's going to manifest it in your future. So number 1 action is to rewrite your intention. Make sure that you have that so that you see it every day. Number 2, this is really important and not a surprise probably to most of you, that we need to reconnect socially. We get so busy. We're in post-COVID. It's been disrupted. We've had obstacles to us really building those relationships, and this is a disrupted human need. We have a craving, a human need to be around other people. We need to reactivate our brain's social engagement system. And here's your motivation, that relationships are the #1 predictor of health, longevity, and cognitive strength. So I really want you to think about, how is it that I can improve my relationships and focus on my relationships? If you have a work situation where you are mostly virtual and you don't see your teammates enough, you still need to connect with them. I know a lot of people that are changing organizations, and part of the reason they're changing organizations is that they're just not around people enough. We have that as a basic human need. It really affects our happiness, our optimism, and our positivity. So even if you exist in a virtual situation and you work in a virtual situation, have those ways that you can still connect with people. Have that virtual happy hour, have that virtual meeting, have that meeting where you show pictures of your family, you show your pets, those types of things where you still have that virtual connection. And then finally, I want to help you guys get a oxytocin release. Oxytocin is a hormone and a neurotransmitter, and it really gets released when we connect with other people. So I want you to help out everybody else who's on this call. So this is what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go to the chat. Now go to chat, make sure you're sending this to everybody. And I want you to send out just a couple of words, a positive message to everybody else who's on the chat along with you. Just send out a positive message, send out some positive vibes to each other, and get that oxytocin release. Catherine, the world needs your light. You matter. You're doing better than you think. Take care of yourself. Keep it going. You got this. Oh my God, you guys. No, everybody, read through those. Read through those. And that feeling that you get when you're reading through those, maybe a little dopamine, maybe a little serotonin, maybe a little bit of endorphin, maybe a little bit of GABA, but that feeling, that's oxytocin releasing into your system. You guys, those are awesome. Those are awesome notes. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Amy, change agents rock. Markina, choose to be positive. You're absolutely right. We have a lifetime habit of maybe not choosing to be positive enough. Let's start changing that habit. And the way we do that is through repetition. You're needed. Let's be friends. Love it, you guys. Love it. Keep them coming. And please, all of you, read through those words and you will feel that oxytocin release and you'll feel that kinship with the other people that are on this call. So thank you for doing that. Fantastic. So step 2, your first action, because I'm going to give you a couple actions here. Make sure that even if you're in a in-person work world or a virtual work world, that you are going out of your way to connect with other people. Even if you're introverted, we all feed and crave off of those human connections. Now, based on our conversation so far, based on your life experience, jump back into chat, 1 or 2 words. What do you think is that key thing that makes us happy, that makes us optimistic, that makes us possible? Positive? What do you think? Jump into chat. What do you think is that key thing that makes people happy? Steffi, choice. Yeah, Markina, well done. Love yourself, feeling loved, connection, determination, a good night's rest. We're going to talk about that. Light, appreciation, support, seeing happy people. Yeah, oh my God, loving yourself. God, that's where it needs to begin, right there, being around positive people. Amen. We are contagion. Our behavior is a contagion to other people. Being changed. Well done, Markina. Well done. So let me share with you really quick a wonderful study out of Harvard. They began this study, believe it or not, in 1938. And it's a longitudinal study. And it took them over 75 years to actually complete this study. I mean, talk about an investment. Started in 1938. And what they did is they tracked the lives of almost 750 men. Sorry, ladies, it was 1938. So 700, almost 750 men from the Boston area. They were young men. Some of them ended up going to school in the area. Some of them went off to WW2, but they tracked their whole lives. They did medical tests. They interviewed their families. They did surveys, and they did this for over 75 years. And then they tallied the results, I don't know, probably 10, 12 years ago. And there was a number of wonderful outcomes that came out of this study. And here's one of the key outcomes as it relates to what we're talking about today. The clearest message we get from this 75-year study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period. This probably is not a surprise to you, but it might be a good reminder to you that, man, I need to focus on my relationships a little bit better. If my relationships are an 8, let's make them a 9. If they're a 6, let's make them a 7. What can we do to improve our relationships? Here's step number 2, second action. In the next 24 hours, reconnect with somebody who's important to you. Who's that person that you haven't connected with in a while? Who's that person who you really need to connect with for you, for them? Who's that person that you need to reconnect with? Write that person's name down and promise yourself right now that you're going to follow up with them. All right. Let's check how we're doing on time. Amy, how we doing? We're at about 2:05. All right, we're doing good. We're doing good. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we're going to keep churning along. And now's the part where you're taking notes. Now's the part where we're talking about actions to take to move from a negative default to a positive default. Here's the next one. I love this one because I've experienced this many times, and it is the concept of AOKs, acts of kindness. When we do acts of kindness, we know that we're helping the broader community. We're helping somebody else out, whatever it is. Volunteer, do a kindness for somebody, whatever it is. And you know that feeling you get when you help somebody else out? You get that neurochemical release. You get that helper's high, they call it. That is the body's way of encouraging beneficial behavior. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I want you to keep doing that. And when you do acts of kindness and you get that chemical release, you lower your blood pressure, you minimize stress and anxiety and pain, depression. It mitigates the stress hormone, cortisol. And this is what's great about this particular audience that I'm speaking to right now, is y'all do this for a living. And I know some days you feel like you're Sisyphus rolling that boulder up the mountain only to have it crash down the other side. I know sometimes you feel like that, but I want to give you credit for what y'all do. And you need to give yourself credit for what you do. And I want to encourage you for what you do. Keep doing it. God knows the world needs it. And I want to encourage you to keep doing it, or even in the next 72 hours, go out of your way to do an act of kindness, whatever it is, a kindness to a stranger. You buy a Starbucks for somebody who's in line behind you. You say something nice, you open a door. Talk about ripple effect. So we start doing these kindness and it becomes a contagion, and like the wings of a butterfly affecting the air and how that affects continents over. So I just want to encourage you to be the change you want to see in the world, to affect other people by your own acts of kindness. It doesn't take great strength. It doesn't take great time. It doesn't take great money. It just takes a moment. So I want to remind you or summarize kind of what we've talked about with step 2, reconnecting socially. So we talked about how can we re-engage with the people that we work with, connect, that human need, even if it's virtual. Suggested that we reconnect with one person. Who's that person that you need to just connect with and kind of touch their lives? And I suggested committing to an acts of kindness, because not only does it help other people, quite frankly, it helps us as well. And start that ripple effect, that contagion, as we affect other people in their lives. Step number 3, here's a unique one for you. And I've been researching this for about 15 years. And one of the fascinating things is all of the neuroscience behind this. So I really want to encourage you to really take care of your brain and your immune system. From Dr. Jonathan Amen, he writes, when your brain works right, you are happier, healthier, wealthier, and more successful in everything that you do. So how do we take care of our brain and our immune system? This is not going to be a surprise to anybody on this call. First of all, diet. The conditions of poor diet damage the brain. We have to, my friends, we have to get away from SAD, right? Standard American diet. We got to get away from that. And it takes just a little bit of discipline. When you stop caring for your brain and you stop learning, your brain starts dying. So I really want you to feed that brain as much as possible. And that has to do with diet. So here's what I want you to do. Okay, close your eyes. And I want you to picture your typical dinner plate in front of you. And you've got your food, you cooked your dinner, and it is what it is. Now, here's how you change your diet. This is based on the research, this is based on the data. Less animal protein, less polyunsaturated fats, less sugars, more salads, more fruits, more vegetables, more nuts, more beans. You guys know this is true. More antioxidants through the berries. Use turmeric, use different herbs to sprinkle on your food to lower inflammation. Diet as medicine, my friends. I just want to encourage you. You're probably doing fine. I want you to do better. Exercise, no surprise to anybody on this call. No matter what your reason for exercise, and I'm hoping the bulk of you do this. If you do, do a little bit more. If you don't, start, right? Exercise is so powerful. It's the number one way in your brain to create new neurons. Number one way. It's called neurogenesis. Our ability to keep creating neurons, number one way to create those, exercise. Number one way to get rid of the harmful stress hormone cortisol, number one way to get it out of your brain is exercise. Number one way to promote blood flow throughout your body, but especially your brain. You want a healthy brain? Blood flow. You want blood flow? Exercise. So I'm just embracing you. I know we're not perfect at this, but boy, can we get a little bit better. Exercise boosts our immune system. It's very powerful. Walking just 7,500 steps per day lowers our risk of death by 40%. And I love this study. They've done duplicated studies where they took certain pharmaceuticals, SSRIs, and they that was one group, and then the other group just increased the amount of exercise that they did. And the outcome was really fascinating. Both of them helped. But the one that helped longer for more duration was the exercise. The one that affected and didn't fade away more was the exercise. So it actually is a great way to mitigate some of the depressive symptoms that a lot of us are effective with. And the other thing is there's no side effects with the exercise as long as you do it safely. If you want any studies on that, reach out to me, glad to help. One of you were smart enough and you brought up earlier, you brought up how important getting a good night of sleep was. And you are so right, getting a good night of sleep. When we sleep, of course, we recoup, we regenerate, we consolidate our learning. Very powerful, very important. Here's the other thing I want you to keep in mind about sleep. I don't know if you've ever, like, you're in the shower and you're shampooing, and all of a sudden you get this great idea. It wasn't the shampoo. What happens is that while we're sleeping, our brain is still solving the problems of the day. So it calms down, it rewires, it consolidates our learning. And when we're waking up and we have this clear head, boom, we get this great idea. Here's the other great thing about how the brain works. That when we sleep, the brain cleanses itself. Spinal fluid goes into the cerebral cortex, the macaroni part of our brain, and it goes amongst all of the little nooks and crannies, and the spinal fluid actually cleanses out the brain while we sleep. It takes out the toxins, it takes out the dead neurons, to give us a highly optimal and efficient brain. Guess how long it takes for that process to happen? You guessed it, about 7 or 8 hours. So get your sleep. I want to encourage you, improve your diet, do more exercise, and get your sleep, and you'll be happier. All I'm saying is you don't have to be perfect, but can we get better? Can we be better at this? The next step I want to talk about is this concept of gratitude. And I know you've all heard about this one, and there's tons of research on this topic, and I think partially because it is so uniquely powerful. Now, for some of you, and boy, I talk to all kinds of different audiences, and I think you might buy into this a little bit more, but there's a lot of audience who go, Don, this sounds really soft. And I agree. This is a soft topic, but the data on this is really powerful about the power that this does in our minds with regard to gratitude. So here's a couple things I just want you to be aware of. Builds positive emotions and social currency. We are better people when we're grateful. It increases neuron health and density. It actually affects our neurons. And the brain loves novelty, trends, and new patterns. So I'm going to introduce to you a very brief, very quick gratitude activity. And if you do this activity over 30 days, and you do it about every other day or so, don't do it every day because it becomes rote and you'll stop doing it. So do it about every other day. And if you do this activity, your brain starts to realize, oh, there's a new trend, there's a new pattern. It goes on autopilot and it starts to look for things to be thankful for all on its own. It starts to create a new habit for you. So really quick, here we go. Here's the gratitude activity. Just take a moment. And I want you to think of 3 things that you are grateful for. If you're taking notes, write them down. 3 things that you are grateful for. One of them should be a person. Just take a moment to be grateful and write down 3 things that you are grateful for. And if you don't mind, jump in the chat, bring this to life even a little bit further. What's 1 or 2 things? What did you put on your list? What are you grateful for? Love it. Thanks, Pam. Miss Presley, your family, love it. Good, good. Oh my gosh. What a great group. Your families and friends are lucky to have you, even your cats. Oh, your family, you guys are so family oriented. I love it. I love it. This is really encouraging. This is really encouraging. Yeah. Now, self-assess for a moment. Do you feel better? Just pausing to be grateful. Does it change your mindset? Do this every other day. Put it as a recurring event and watch your mindset change. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. I love this picture, by the way. Step number 5. So number 5 is, I'm not going to tell you what this one is. I want you to think about it. But if you could get these benefits, would you do this activity? If you could get these benefits. Okay. So here's the benefits. You're going to lower the stress hormone cortisol, stress, your pain. You're going to improve your concentration, your cognitive abilities. You're actually going to lower your brain age, right? There's the calendar age of your brain, and then there's the your actual brain age. You're going to grow new neurons and gray matter. If you do this activity, you're going to improve your sleep and your immune system. You're going to increase your positive emotions. You're going to decrease your brain wandering. And for organizations, you're going to lower insurance costs. So jump in the chat. What am I talking about? What activity is it that I'm suggesting you can get all of these benefits? Yeah, Jess, being present, meditation. Yeah, good job. Prayer, Andrea, breath work. Love it. You guys are spot on. I know for some of you, you hesitate to do this, but boy, if you get a chance to gain back control of your own brain, and give energy back to your own brain and rewire your own brain, why would you not do it? So let's just take a moment, if you guys don't mind. And all of those guesses, quite frankly, are correct. But of course, what I was thinking about was the idea of mindfulness, the idea of just being in the moment, being where our shoes are. So I'm going to walk you through a very brief, easy, it's called the sky technique, breathing technique. And I'm going to have you breathe in, inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 6. The reason we exhale more is to empty out your lungs so that you can bring more air in. So you guys, please just relax, enjoy the moment, and be in the moment. Everything is good. We have much to be grateful for. So let's just be in the moment, if you don't mind, if you can. If you're sitting, feet on the ground, shoulder width apart, you're relaxing, you're enjoying the moment, eyes are closed. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just take a moment, deep breathe in, breathe out. Just take a moment, be in the moment, enjoy it. All right, here we go again. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, just take a deep breath in again. Be in the moment. Everything is good. You have much to be grateful for. You've got this. All we're going to do now is just take one more really, really deep breath in and out. So here we go. Enjoy the moment. Deep breath in. And breathe out. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Maybe smile a bit. Maybe just a soft smile over your face. Appreciate the moment. I have meditation and gratitude as recurring events in my Outlook calendar, as reminders to make sure that I do this every single day. I just want to remind you, leverage technology, you guys, if you can. Be in the moment as much as you can. All right. So this is our last of the 6 steps. And I saved this for last for 2 reasons. One, it's my favorite. And 2, it's one that you can do all day, every day, all the time. Okay. So let me set it up with just this brief story. I have a small dog, absolutely love her. She's old. When I take her out for a walk, in fact, this happened a couple of weeks ago, took her out for a walk. At best, it's 20 minutes. I remember I was walking with her for about 10 minutes when I caught myself. I was 10 minutes into this walk, and the whole time, all I was doing was in negative thought, ruminating about a family situation that I had no control over, nothing I could do. What an unmitigated waste of time. But I caught myself. That's called metacognition. Animals can't do it, we can. We have the ability to think about our thinking. It's called metacognition. We can think about our thinking, catch ourselves in negative thought, and we can reframe that negative thought to a positive. And that's what reframing is. We are not destined to default to the negative all the time. We don't have to do that. Let's change our habits. Repetition change habits. We can metacognate. We can change our negative thoughts to positive by reframing. So just enjoy this page. Go ahead and read through these bullet points. I think this is fascinating about our negativity bias. Doesn't that sound about right? It's and who cares if it's 70,000 thoughts per day or if it's 7,000 thoughts per day? That number doesn't matter. What matters is we all have this predilection. We have this genetic predisposition to be negative, and I want us to do a better job of pushing back against that negativity and defaulting more to the positive. And here's the thing, the way our brains function. Our brains are also about efficiency. That last bullet, things aren't as bad as our brains tend to predict. Our brains are in the prediction business. So that it can be more efficient, it tries to predict what's going to happen in the future. And here's the problem with our brain doing that. When it does that, it often predicts wrong, and it almost always predicts the most negative thing. Isn't that frustrating? But that's the way our brains function. We need to push back on that, and we need to reframe more often. You can do this all the time, during the day, anytime you catch yourself in negative thought. So let's practice together, okay? So I think let's try this. I want you to answer this, but let's answer this verbally. Let's just try this, see if it works. I want you to answer this verbally. So take yourself off of mute and answer this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you 3 different pictures. Tell me what is positive occurred, and then I want you to reframe it to or what negative thing occurred, and then I want you to reframe it to the positive. I want you to practice, okay? So take yourself off of mute, tell me the negative thing that occurred, and then reframe it to the positive. Let's have some fun with this. Here's the picture, here's the negative thing that occurred. Oh no, I bought some ice cream and I dropped it on the hot ground. Somebody unmute yourself. What is the positive or negative thing that happened, and then reframe it to the positive?
Oh, I did not like that flavor at all. So
Yeah.
now I don't have to eat it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Somebody else.
It's better the ice cream pill than me.
Okay, yeah. Good spin. Good reframe. Somebody else.
I was
I
on a
can
diet.
just go get another one.
Yeah, you can always just get yourself another one.
I was on a diet anyway.
Yeah, I don't think that ice cream was made out of kale. Yeah, Marquina. Oh well, save myself some calories. Good, you guys got it. You guys got it. Something negative happens. It's what we tell ourselves about what happened that's the bad thing, not the thing that happened. Wonderful, wonderful. You guys are great. You guys are great. Okay, here's another picture. Let's do the same thing. Jump in. What's the negative thing that happened, and then reframe it to the positive, okay? Okay, I've had this happen in my life where I got laid off. How do you deal with it? So you guys tell me, what's the negative, but then spin it to a positive.
Things happen for a reason.
Okay, yeah, I could handle this. What else?
This is an opportunity to find something better.
I love it that you use the word opportunity, because a negative, pessimistic person is going to go, "Oh my God, this is horrible." Well, briefly, maybe it is, but boy, it's also an opportunity. Somebody else.
Growth.
Growth, did you say?
Yes, growth.
Oh, I love it.
Being able to get a better job so you can learn new things.
Yep. Yep. So Jess, you wrote, my mic is broken, but my 2-year-old pup still puts the let out on walks, but I still tell myself at least it's not as frequent and at least we can get. Thank you, Jess. So yeah,
moving forward.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's
Time for
about time.
vacation.
Now I can go do this, that.
Yep. 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 I love the one. Now you have some time, a little time off, focus on a couple other things, then go after that job. You know, this happened to me a long time ago, and I was so excited for the next thing to come, and it made all the difference. And I ended up getting a job in 6 months, and it was a better job, right? So let's reframe. I've got one more for you, and I think some of you are going to laugh at this picture. So here we go. Let's practice reframing. You can do it all day, any day, all the time. Here's the picture. All right. Let's assume they're breaking up. So what's the negative thing? Spin it to a positive.
I deserve better.
Melanie, say it again.
I deserve better.
Yeah. There you go. Good for you.
He may not want me, but there's other fish in the sea.
Opportunity.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God I don't have to cook for him anymore.
All right, you guys are having too much fun with this one.
Stephanie, I know that was you.
So you guys, these images are just an example of the things that happen all the time. You're stuck in traffic and you're lamenting and you're mad. You can't control it. So find a way to use that time wisely. Reframe all the time. And I love this phrase, and I want you to just leverage this phrase. It's not what happens to you, but what you tell yourself about what happens to you that is the real issue. Okay. We're going to do one more brief activity, then I'm going to open it up for questions, and then we're going to wrap up. One more brief activity. And this is what we're going to do. A quick review. You guys read through this. Here's the key points. We're better in every domain when we're in HOP. Our physiology literally changes. And this has impact for teams and organizations, which is why people bring me in. Here's the actions that we suggested taking. Make sure you're intentional. Reconnect socially. Reconnect with one person. Do an act of kindness. Do better at diet, exercise, and sleep. Just do better. Do the gratitude activity. Put it in recurring events. Meditate and reframe the negative to the positive. There's our summary. Okay. This is what we're going to do. Final activity. And we're going to go to a breakout again. And all you're going to do, enjoy the conversation, enjoy getting to know maybe somebody new. And I just want you to go around and share either one new positive action for you that you're going to take, one new positive action that you're going to take, or what is something related to this conversation that maybe we can implement on the team? So based on this information, what's new thing for me, for you, that you're going to do, or what can we do on the team? All right. I'm going to make this for a tight 5 minutes. Go around really quick. What's that thing that you're going to do? And let's see if I can pull this off. We have 156. Hold on. Let me do the math. All right, here we go. 5 minutes. Enjoy your time. What's going to change based on us spending time together today? We're going to go into the breakout rooms. 5 minutes. Let's see, options. All right, you guys have a blast with this. What are you going to do different? See you in 5 minutes.
Hey, Don,
Hello?
I got the same breakout room. Nobody came, and then somebody came that was in there before and left.
Oh, no. And is this Mary?
Yep.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's,
Oh.
Mary, which one were you in, Mary?
26.
Well, let's change that. I'm so sorry.
Yep. What did I do here? There we are.
There you go. You should have another opportunity. Hey, Charity, do I need to move you to a room? All right, rooms are going to close in a minute and then we will wrap up. Well, I tried to fill those rooms up as best I could. Everybody's coming back. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. Now go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm curious, what were some of the things that you guys talked about? What might you do with your team, or what is something maybe all out on your own for you that you're going to do differently? What were some of the things that you guys grabbed a hold of?
Okay. Well, me personally, I said I never looked at self-care in a fashion which you just explained how we should breathe in, breathe out, and just take moments just for ourselves. Because as a social worker, you always in help mode. You
Yep.
always want to give, and
Yep.
you forget if you don't take care of you, how are you going to help someone else?
Boy, that's a phrase that pays. Thank you for sharing that. It's such a good point. Take care of you, and you can better take care of those. What else?
I would add on to that and just say that you said something, Don, that I thought was really clever. You said that you add it to your phone or you make yourself a reminder somehow of those breathing techniques just to make sure that you remember to do them. That's so clever. I would have never thought to do that because I always forget to do them. Always forget.
This is what's great about that. Do you guys use MS Outlook, Amy?
Just as I do it
We do have Outlook. I don't know. Oh yeah, Microsoft Outlook. Yes, yes.
Okay. So most of the, even Google, you can do this, Yahoo, you can do this, you can put in your calendar recurrent events. When that comes up and I haven't thought about breathing, I haven't thought about gratitude, I haven't thought to reaching out to somebody, and then it comes up as a reminder, more chances that I'll do it.
Yeah, nice.
Someone else, what else are you going to do for the team and for yourself?
For me,
Yes,
I think
I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about this, and yeah, that 24 hours in a day, and work is like 8 hours, and or a little better. And if something comes up, and I get stuck in that, why waste the whole 24 hours? I got some time to do something else. So it's encouraging, and it makes me think that there is more to me and more to my life rather than this one particular thing. And let me go do what makes me feel good, and I'll come back to this later and see if I can work it out.
Thanks, Lewis. I appreciate that. Reach out if I can ever help. And by the way, in a related story, I was a Bears fan. I thought you people in Wisconsin would get a kick out of that. And as you could imagine, being a Bears fan, how that would ruin my Sundays. I changed my mindset. I reframed. No longer does a loss ruin my weekend. Mary, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
yes, it was related to the pandemic and social isolation. I chair a lot of meetings, and one is particular to a steering committee, and we're trying to reconvene in an in-person meeting and struggling with that. And people are really set on continuing in a virtual sense. And looking at the importance of meeting in person, because of the way that business can be conducted in person, and breaking away from virtual meetings and coming back to in person for the sense of doing business, and also breaking social isolation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good luck. I hope you get there. Maybe one technique would be, look, can you guys meet me halfway, the ones who don't want to? Can you guys meet me halfway? Let's at least try one where we're in person.
That's what we're doing.
Right? And gets good. Good. Well, good luck with that, Mary.
Thank you.
Another thing you're going to do for yourself or your team.
I thought about the meditating part because it's good to be able to clear your brain and relieve the thought process. Because sometimes your thought process when you're trying to help someone can become overwhelming. And to find a way to clear your thoughts so you can get back to the refraining part of changing something negative into something positive, I'm going to try to find a way to make that work for me. And then I think taking the reframing part back to my team will be very helpful in how we deal with clients.
Love it. Love it. And keep in mind with meditation, with breathing, for many people, it's new. And because it's new, it's awkward or it's a little bit hard to really kind of get into Zen, get into that mode, right? That's okay. Just know that it's new. But the more you do it, the more you train your brain to accept it, to be more efficient, to actually love it. So just be patient with it. Thanks, Louetta.
Thank you.
And anybody, how about one more? One more. What are you going to do for you, or what are you going to do for the team?
I got that, and I have a question for you. Our group touched on at the end reframing. That is so important. It's something that even sitting here and doing those pictures, it made you laugh. It brought a different emotion out than being irritated, aggravated, agitated, mad about the moment. And that's what we need to do as a team is get out of our feelings, reframe it back to something that is positive, and just keep moving. Can you please identify what HOP meant? I did not get that written down I didn't have my notebook then.
That's okay. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
HOP stands for happy, optimistic, and positive.
Happy, optimistic.
Yeah. Thank you, Lainey. All right. So let's bring this home, and then I'm going to open up for a couple of questions. That's fine with me. I would love that. So a couple of offerings I'm going to send to Amy, and she'll send to you guys, I think, somehow. Just a reminder. It's an infographic. It's one page, and it walks through the 6 steps. I'm going to send that so that you guys have it. I have a Facebook community group that I'm starting to re-energize, kind of let it go to the wayside for a while, and I'm going to re-energize it. And all you do is, if you're on Facebook, you go to this group. It's a community group, and that's the path. Facebook groups Go Positive. And there's no selling. All we do is we just post positivity stuff. And every now and then it shows up and you go, oh, I needed that today. So feel free to join that group. I think Amy brought up the book. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I think it's a really good support mechanism for what we talked about today. We talk about all this stuff in the book. A lot of the research, a lot of the studies are in there. Feel free. Amazon's probably the best place to get it. I want to encourage you again to reach out to me. I love that. There's my email right there on the screen. And I'm going to wrap up with this thought. And then you can ask me any question that you have. Here's the challenge I want to pose to each of you. You can resist 26 years worth of research on this stuff, not just my research, but I mean, it's really started in 1998. You can resist it and continue completely as you are. But your tomorrows will be the same as your todays. Or you can embrace these concepts. You can embrace a positive mind shift. And I promise that your tomorrows will be better than your todays. So that's my challenge to you, is to embrace this, make some changes. They don't have to be huge, even minor. Make some changes. And I think you'll see in your own lives and how you connect with people, you'll see a more positive existence. So with that as background, unmute yourself. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Hey, Don, is it okay if I just say something before we go into questions?
Of course.
Just a reminder that if you haven't ever received an MC3 certificate, the way that it works is that the link goes into the chat. And in front of the certificate is the questions about it's a survey about today's presentation. And then you answer the questions. There'll be an arrow on the bottom that goes into another link. That is your certificate of attendance. Please make sure that you print it, save it, put it in your files, do what you need to do. That is your certificate. So that's for you. Also, as Don said, that he has some materials for us. If you have used the attendance sheet and gave us a valid email, you will get all that information that Don has to offer for us. I'll also send out the certificate link there too. Okay, just wanted to clarify that. Thanks, Don.
Of course. And remember, you can always send me an email.
Real quick, Amy, is that a different link from the one you sent earlier?
Yes, that is the certificate of attendance link.
And is that on the chat already? I'm
yes.
Looking for it. Can you repost it, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martina.
So it's supposed to come Is it gonna send me an email? Because I submitted
Nope.
it.
No, what happens is you fill out the survey about today's presentation, and at the end it will say submit or whatever it is. Maybe there's an arrow, and then it kind of prompts you to another link, and then that link is your certificate.
Okay, because it is not doing that. It's just asking for my information and that like that first screen of name, agency, and then I hit submit, and then it says your response was submitted, enjoy the meeting, and then it says submit another response.
Sometimes it takes a
That
while.
That
If
did the same thing, and I just clicked the link again and it took me to the second page.
I was gonna say, sometimes it takes a while because a lot of people are doing it at the same time.
Try again and let me know. And a reminder too that I'll send it out with Don's things as well.
So did you get it to go through?
Did I type in all my stuff again?
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take away Don's time for folks to ask questions too. If you do have questions for Don, this is a good time to ask. But before we go into that, just thank you, Don, for joining us today. Your presentation was stellar. I was so happy to have you here with us today. And I'm so happy that you were able to speak to about 160 change agents today and get this message across. So thanks.
My pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure working with you, Amy.
Does anybody have questions for Don?
You mean I was that thorough? You don't have any?
You were pretty thorough.
All right, then feel free to reach out to me. You guys have my email address. It's right up there. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for the work that you all do. And Amy, thanks for reaching out. I know that we'll talk in the next day or so. And all the best, you guys. Happy 24.
Thanks, Don. Make sure you send me the materials and I'll send them out to the change agents.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Bye, change agents.
Thank
Have a good,
you.
happy Wednesday.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, guys. Bye now.
Thank you, Don. It was great.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you. I learned a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.